Jennifer, we hear your last words. What do we want?
Medicare for autism!
When do we want it?
Now!
What do we want?
Medicare for autism!
When do we want it?
Now!
What do we want?
Medicare for autism!
When do we want it?
Now!
What do we want?
Medicare for autism!
When do we want it?
Now!
What do we want?
Medicare for autism!
When do we want it?
Now!
What do we want?
Medicare for autism!
When do we want it?
Now!
Folks, among the political class, there's a couple of divisions, political parties, regions, and so on. We often get told certain things by politicians in opposition, different story when they're in power. We've all been deceived. Dalton McGuinty is one of the high-profile examples. During the last provincial election, he sent Nancy Morrison, a friend of ours in Toronto, a letter in writing, unqualified, unconditional, recognition that the age 6 cutoff to the Ontario Preschool Autism Program was discrimination, and vowed that if he was elected, he would do away with it. Now, some politicians at the federal level, even yesterday, told us we should trust the provinces. Trust the province.
Trust the Dalton gang?
Yeah, the Dalton gang. I'm tempted to quote Jim Morrison and say, you cannot trust the provinces. We asked the federal government to demonstrate some leadership, to call a conference with the provinces and to do whatever is necessary, whether it's by legislation or putting money on the table, to negotiate a national autism strategy so that we don't have to be victimized by the Dalton McGuintys of this world who take advantage of our desperation to help our disabled children anymore. We have some allies in the House of Commons. There are three who've done us a great favor. It's just a small step, but we're extremely grateful. Peter Stouffer, Andy Scott, and Sean Murphy. They're here with us today. And one by one, I'd like to ask them to come up here and to address this crowd. Peter Stouffer, ladies and gentlemen, as you know, in the last Parliament, tabled Bill C-211 that would amend the Canada Health Act to include autism treatment. A bill that, if passed, is law. Required compliance. Sean Murphy tabled a similar bill with an additional provision regarding the creation of a national autism strategy through 2 stages. One of the health minister convening a conference of provincial health ministers, and then subsequently in a second phase tabling a plan in the House of Commons with set deadlines. And for that, Mr. Murphy, we're also very grateful for Bill C-304. And we understand Bill C-304 is up for a first hour of debate at the beginning of December. I can't wait. Can you?
No!
Mr. Andy Scott tabled a motion, M-172, to create a national autism strategy. We already had a first hour of debate. A second hour of debate is expected next week, followed by a vote. This is unprecedented. It's only a motion. It's not binding. In fact, it's not law. But it's the first time anything of this nature has happened in the House of Commons. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Andy Scott.
Thank you very much. I'm in the business of being heard. I think we can figure this one out. I want to say how moving it is to see everyone here. I am driven to what it is that we're doing by your dedication, your concern for your kids, for your neighbors. I cannot imagine what it must be like to know that there's recourse for your children and that there are people who can't have access to that because they don't have enough money. That is not my Canada. Now, next Monday we have the second hour of debate on the motion that will call for a national autism strategy, and I am confident that we will have the support of the government on Tuesday when we vote, And for the first time, the Government of Canada will be committed to a national autism strategy regardless of jurisdictional debate. That's critically important for everyone. And for those from all parties, and I mean all parties, who have come forward to speak in favor of this, I think we owe all of them our thanks, because we will get this passed. It won't be a political issue, and if it doesn't happen, it will be a major political issue. Thank you very much.
When do we want it?
Now!
What do we want?
Medicare for autism!
When do we want it?
Now!
What do we want?
Medicare for autism!
When do we want it?
Now!
What do we want?
Medicare for autism!
When do we want it?
Now!
Ladies and gentlemen, I'd now like to introduce Mr. Peter Stauffer.
He's still teaching me how to work a megaphone. But ladies and gentlemen, if you don't think that lobbying and doing this type of activity works, I just wanted to let you know a little history of Andrew and I. Andrew was out here one day in the rain a few years ago with his sign. And I was curious enough, being the guy that I am, and I went out and I talked to him, invited him into my office, and then he invited me to meet Laurel Gibbons. Laurel Gibbons is a mother of a child, is a mother whose son is autistic. And I found out that Laurel Gibbons' sister used to work on my campaign. Kind of a small world out there. But I started to understand and realize the concerns of autism, and I admit I was extremely ignorant of it before. I knew that it was out there, but I had no idea the extent that families, not only in my home province of Nova Scotia, but right across the country go through on a regular basis. And by studying and researching and talking to people, I completely understood the travesty of justice of that Supreme Court decision. And I cannot for the life of me understand why the Health Minister of Canada continuously refuses to endorse a national strategy on autism. The easiest thing that politicians can do is talk to one another. We have asked repeatedly that he just reconvene a meeting with the provincial and territorial ministers to discuss the concerns of autism, to see where we can move the yardsticks, so that in BC and Ontario treatment doesn't end at 6, whereas Alberta it goes to 18. And in Nova Scotia we have a trial program. They select certain kids and maybe they'll get the treatment or they won't. Well, as Andy Scott said, it's not my Canada. This is a great, great country, and we have the fiscal capacity to invest in our children. This is not an expenditure of dollars. It has been proven, and Andrew and others have shown me over and over again, that this is fiscally the right thing to do. So if you're arguing just on the dollars, it's the fact that we have a national autism strategy so that that sign is true, that all children deserve a full life. We will be investing in our future as a Canadian country. And ladies and gentlemen, to let you know that myself and our party and our colleagues from other parties support your cause. And like I say, we need Medicare for autism yesterday, not necessarily now. So God bless you and your families, and all the very best. Thank you.
For the PMO and PCO over there, the Minister of Health, I'm sure his office is somewhere in there. What do we want?
Medicare for autism!
When do we want it?
Now!
What do we want?
Medicare for autism!
When do we want it?
Now!
What do we want?
Medicare for autism!
When do we want it?
Now!
What do we want?
Medicare for autism!
When do we want it?
Now!
What do we want?
Medicare for autism!
When do we want it?
Now!
Ladies and gentlemen, like I said before, so many politicians have told us one thing before and another thing later. There always seems to be something happening once they move from opposition to government or from one region to another. But we have a number of allies. We just heard from 2 of them. But another one who's tabled something on the order paper that's going to be discussed soon, the words of which, incredibly, it's such a short bill. But I have no hesitation in saying that never before have so few words meant so much to so many. The author of Bill C-304, ladies and gentlemen, let's give a round of applause for our ally, our friend, Mr. Sean Murphy.
Thank you,
very much, Andrew. I'm certainly overwhelmed by the number of people here today and the passion and conviction that you have for this issue. And let me tell you though, you have this number of people, or double, or triple, or quadruple, this number of people in each and every riding in Canada. So get them out, get the same size of crowd out, and you will be listened to.
Absolutely. Yeah, the 2% solution.
So get out there, and the issue, I've got a private member's bill that's being debated. The first hour of debate will be on Tuesday, December 5th. It is a short bill. It just calls for calls for a health ministers meeting soon, followed by a national strategy. But it also has the clause into it that the Canada Health Act be amended to include autism and the applied treatments. So ladies and gentlemen, that will be on there. It's going to be interesting to see where that bill goes, but I think it's a very important bill for this particular cause. But again, I want to work with you. Anything I should hear, let me hear it. Let's stay together, but let's get out into the 308 ridings across Canada.
Thank you so much, Mr. Murphy. Well, folks, this is a feed rally. We have two more MPs that we'd like to hear from. But first, let's remind our colleagues, in case they didn't hear us before, what do we want?
Medicare for autism.
When do we want it?
Now.
What do we want?
Medicare for autism.
When do we want it?
Now.
What do we want?
Medicare for autism.
When do we want it?
Now.
What do we want?
Medicare for autism.
When do we want it?
Now.
What do we want?
Medicare for autism.
When do we want it?
Now.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce now Mr. Peter Julian.
I'm reluctant to speak. I'm reluctant to speak because I think successive federal governments have let down families of children with autism.
They have.
I'm reluctant to speak because I don't think words are going to change the situation. What is going to change the situation is the action of the local heroes I see right in front of me. The people here, families, parents of children with autism that have been fighting the fight for the last few years. I think what you are doing is heroic, and I think what you are doing is going to lead to the results we all seek. We have a Medicare system with a gaping hole, and that is children with autism. A Medicare system that is allowing parents and families to go into bankruptcy or go into debt to try to provide adequate medical care for their children. It is absolutely despicable that any federal government would allow families, would allow parents, would allow children down to such a lamentable extent. But we have to change the situation. The activity that you're doing, the dedication that you're showing, the energy that you are showing is having an impact. We will do our part inside the House of Commons. Please continue to fight as hard as you are fighting. Parents, families, children with autism are having an impact, and there will come a day, and I hope it is soon, if we're looking at an upcoming federal election, when we will finally have Medicare for autism. That is the kind of Canada I think we all want to build. Thank you.
For our next speaker, just remind our politicians indoors, what do we want?
Medicare for autism.
When do we want it?
Now.
What do we want?
Medicare for autism.
When do we want it?
Now.
What do we want?
Medicare for autism.
When do we want it?
Now.
What do we want?
Medicare for autism.
When do we want it?
Now.
Folks, my colleagues from BC have been here now for a couple of days and will testify before the Senate committee that's looking into funding for autism treatment tomorrow. The past couple of days, they've attended a couple of meetings with some senators and some politicians. Yesterday, I had the pleasure of joining them for a meeting, a couple of MPs and senators.